Hello, welcome. The United States of America has expelled the South African ambassador to the US. According to the US Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, South Africa's ambassador is no longer welcome in the country. This move escalated the growing tension between the US and South Africa since President Trump returned to the White House. The Trump administration frowned at South Africa's efforts on land reforms and the country's support for Palestinians in their conflict with Israel. Trump considers South Africa's land reform as an effort to take land away from white South Africans, whom he has offered an express path to move to the United States. The audacity of South Africa to take Israel to the International Criminal Court in The Hague for crime against humanity in Gaza has also annoyed Trump. It is 5:30 p.m. in Accra, Ghana, 6:30 p.m. in Lagos, Nigeria, 1:30 p.m. in New York City. Wherever you're joining us from, welcome to another episode of 90 Minutes Africa. My name is Rudolf Okonkwo. My co-host, Chido Onoma, is on assignment. In Nigeria, politicians are forming new alliances as the 2027 presidential election comes into focus. The first test of what is ahead is the election of the next governor of Anambra State. The election will take place in November, but party primaries will occur within the next few weeks. On our show today, we have one aspirant running under Nigeria's ruling party, the APC. Here is his profile.
Valentine Chineto, better known as Val Ozigbo, hails from Amesi in Agwata local government area of Anambra State. He is a Nigerian politician and business executive. He is the immediate past president and chief executive officer of Transnational Corporation of Nigeria PLC, Transcorp, diversified conglomerate with strategic investments and core interests in the hospitality, agribusiness, and energy sectors. He was appointed to the position in 2019. Ozigbo studied accounting at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN, where he graduated in 1994 as the best graduating student in both the Department of Accounting and the Faculty of Business Administration, winning 6 awards in the process. He subsequently obtained an MBA in Banking and Finance from the same university before proceeding to earn another master's degree at the University of Lancaster in the UK as a Chevening Scholar. Ozigbo started his over 26-year stint in the banking sector with the NAL Merchant Bank and later moved to Diamond Bank, where his excellence shone like a guiding star. He also worked at Continental Trust Bank, which later transformed to United Bank for Africa, UBA, after its merger with CTB. He later worked with Bank PHB, now Keystone Bank, and rose to the position of General Manager. In January 2019, Ozigbo was appointed to the position of President and Group CEO of Transcorp PLC, where he oversaw the conglomerate's holdings in the power, hospitality, and the oil and gas sector, namely Transcorp Power, Transcorp Hotels, and Transcorp Energy. In March 2020, he stepped down as president of Transcorp PLC to dedicate the next chapter of his life to public service, but retains a seat on the boards of Transcorp PLC, Transcorp Power Limited, and Transcorp Hotels Limited. He joined active politics in 2020 and ran for the Anambra governorship under the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in 2021, but lost to the current governor, Chukwuma Soludo. He joined the Labour Party in August 2022, the party of Peter Obi, former governor of Anambra State and presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general election. In February 2025, Val Ozigbo left the Labour Party and joined the central government ruling All Progressives Congress APC, a move that has unsettled the political landscape in Anambra State. which holds a governorship election in November 2025. Val is presumed to be one of the top contenders to the valued APC Guba ticket in the election. Valued because the ruling party APC has vowed to take over the Anambra government house in 2026.
All right, please join me in welcoming to the show, Mr. Val.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Welcome to the show. I know I thought you would have like 4 hours with us, so I had this elaborate introduction. I didn't know that we are running out of time already, but thank you so much for doing this. I know you'll have meetings to attend, and we will try to get to the main questions. A lot of people reached out to me as soon as I put out that you were coming, and the question they have, some simply say, why APC? Why did you leave Labour Party? And I know you've answered it. We have a tape of you answering that on channels, but we want you to give us the simple version so that people will understand what you are doing. So, go.
Thank you so much, Rudolf, and thank you to all the listeners out there. It's an honor to be on this platform to talk about what I'm extremely passionate about: how to transform a society for good, how to rebuild a society, how to actually lead the Black race towards catching up with the rest of the world. Because I see Anambra as central to this objective. Anambra is the leadership, is key to whatever is going to happen in our Igbo. And the Igbo are very pivotal to changing the landscape of Nigeria. And Nigeria is the epicenter of anything positive and impactful as far as Black nation is concerned. And so when we talk about Anambra, we're not just talking about Anambra for Anambra, we're talking about Anambra for the rest of the world. So I thank you all for this audience. I went into politics for the right reasons. I went into politics for public service, the true definition of service. How do we add our own quota? How do we contribute our own quota towards changing the narrative? How do we do the right things? In fact, how do we set new standard of what governance should be? And so in 2021, I left my corporate world and then entered into the murky waters of politics. And a lot of people also ask me a lot of these questions they're asking me today. Why politics? Why politics? In fact, let me say this to you. The first set of people I mentioned I was going into politics said to me, you must be a very stupid man. Do you know where your career is going to lead you to? In another 5, 10 years, do you know where you will find yourself? And I said to them, okay, let's actually follow that line of thought. Okay, I remain in corporate world. In 5, 10 years, I become one of the richest guys around, and I have houses in Dubai, in US, and even buy private jets and all of that. I said to the guy, then I so what? You know, seriously, and so what? I still come home to my state and I run around from away from kidnappers, and then I can't even walk on the streets without being scared. When all of these things we complain about, all this maladministration, poor leadership, when all that happened, and then I'm cruising. In fact, I said to the white guy with me, I said to him, if I actually get frustrated with Nigeria and I come to your country, guess what? You're going to treat me as guilty until proven innocent. And so what is the use of that if this is my world, if this is my life, and I end up dying and it still remains like this, I would have died in vain. And the reason I'm going to politics is to say no to status quo. I reject the status quo. It can't continue like this. It is important that, let me at least say to God, I tried my best. I don't have to change the world, but I want to try my best towards changing the world that we live in. And that's why I'm in politics. It can't be no popular than this. And so, thank God, that 2021, there were 15 of us. A lot of them are far more experienced than me in politics. But I said, I won't give up. Yes, I know the game a little bit, but I went in there like a novice. I started visiting every part of Anambra State, went to every corner up to 9 times. Every local government I visited at least 8, 9 times. And I was listening to them, taking notes. What do you want from your next governor? Good enough. They started paying attention and they saw me as a very genuine, concerned individual. And they fell in love with me. And before you know it, polls upon polls were throwing me up as likely to win the primary of PDP. Despite having 15 top contenders who have been senator, House of Rep, Richard and myself, billionaires. But guess what? God's will prevailed. I came first in that primary, and that's how I became the flag bearer of PDP. When I lost the election, I moved on. I called Soludo the same day. I didn't go to tribunal, I didn't challenge him. In fact, I had to even allow him 2 years unfettered before I started, holding him accountable, particularly on issues, things I feel he could have done better. I didn't want to talk then because I don't want to be accused of being the one distracting him. You, Governor Soludo, let Anambra people know you and know that actually they made a mistake. And they actually realized they made a mistake. And when 2023 knocked on the table and Peter Obi was running, I felt he was the best and Nigeria had for that election. So I left PDP where I would be the leader of PDP in Anambra State. And then I moved on to Labour Party to join hands with him. And I supported him as much as I could. I can boast of being one of the top, at least from the Southeast, politician who supported Peter Obi in many capacities. Whether the time I volunteered, traveling with him, paying my bills, raising money for him, spending, and also on the tech side, building, what a constitution room and all of that. I did all that because I believed in that project. I wanted a better Nigeria. And one day, Peter even asked me, Anambra governorship is getting close. Before you know it, 2 years is 2025 is there. And so we already have a candidate in you. And so maybe that won't even be a primary. All of those kind of comments. I said to him, Your Excellency, I'm not actually around you because of Anambra governorship. I am in a hurry to see how Nigeria can improve. And if it's going to happen with you running as and becoming president, guess what? I don't even think I still need to become a governor because what I want to do at a small pace, you can do at a much larger pace. So what is there for? And so if there is anybody you can offer the ticket of Anambra governorship for this your own to work out, please go ahead and do that. And I meant every single word of this. I want to see myself as a purposeful politician, not a transactional politician. And so, unfortunately, 2023 happened the way it happened. Now we're talking about Anambra 2025. What has shocked me the most was that the party that I belong to, the Labour Party, apart from the leadership issues we face, the litigation issues that have weakened the party, but I started seeing people hitting their hands on the table over their dead body with Valentine be candidate of Labour Party. So a lot of things happened that I don't want to actually say in public in that party, Labour Party. So when I opened my mouth and said to every world that Labour Party became worse than APC and PDP combined, people don't understand that message. Don't quote me. I want you to go and investigate what is going on in that party, Labour Party. So those who are accusing me of betrayal, they have no idea. They have no idea what goes on and what I've gone through as a person. They have no idea how many nights of crying, of What is going on? The summary is that Labour Party became a zero option if I wanted to run for this governorship. Not just again because of the frustration there, but the system is being weakened. Today, they're in Supreme Court. Who is going to be the national chairman? Abure is there by virtue of appeal court judgment. What if he loses and he has started this process for Anambra governorship? It means that it's going to be bullshit. Labour won't have a candidate. What if he wins? And maybe his win is even aided by external forces. It means he'll be teleguided. The point is that there's no win with what's going on in the Labour Party. And that's why I say, unfortunately, the others are attacking me for saying this. It's important I speak my mind and I speak objectively to say that, you know what? I think that Labour has since died, just waiting to be buried. And I pray something happens to rejuvenate that party, because I am somebody who also craves for opposition, proper opposition politics in Nigeria. But as far as Anambra 2025 is concerned, I'll be the most stupid human being to run under Labour Party. And here's the question I've been asking people, including you, Rudolf. If it wasn't going to be a Labour Party, which other party? Answer me. You're asking me and I'm asking you. No, now, listen, because it's a rhetorical question. The truth of the matter is that there's no other option. PDP is dead. That's why they couldn't even sell a form. Forget about the single individual that eventually bought it as a proxy. Somebody sent him to just buy and hold in case he loses primary somewhere else. PDP opened sell a form. Nobody purchased it. That has vindicated me that PDP cannot be an option. If you know what has happened, and by the way, the same thing happening in Labour is also happening in PDP up to today, and in Supreme Court as to who is going to be National Secretary. And this is just National Secretary that's the battling when it comes to.
All right. His system is frozen, and I'm sure we will get him back. I plan for him to be with us for the typical 2 to 3 hours, but he has a meeting that he has to go to very soon. So I will limit my questions to just 2 more and see if we can get you guys to join and ask your question. But he is somewhere, I believe it's in Anambra State, and I think he will join us again. So once again, for those who are just joining us, we are talking to APC's, one of the candidates running to get the ticket of the APC in Anambra State for the election for governor taking place in November. The primary is on April 5th, and Val will be one of the candidates. Others are Rudolf Okonkwo, and so many. There are about 7 of them who scaled through this screening of that that political party. We want to know why he chose APC, and of course he's been hearing from you people everywhere, Anambra people and people outside Anambra. They want to know why. He actually explained that in an interview with Channel. So, but he's back. We don't have time to play that. All right. Sorry. Welcome back.
Is that my network or yours?
It can be New York.
I know. You see what I'm talking about. This is exactly why I'm in politics. I hate what you just said to me now. So it's only Nigerian network that'll be failing, and New York is going to be standing. Come on. Let me call this short. The truth is that if you follow logic, if you actually understand this politics, if you also are objective, and also, I dare say, if you're spiritual, you will know I have taken the best decision in the circumstance. I wasn't expecting that everybody would understand it from day one, but they're going to follow me through the journey. When we get to the destination and things start happening in Anambra, these voices against me will come back to apologize and say, we were wrong, we judged you wrongly. The truth of the matter is that God knows I'm not a transactional politician. I didn't do this for my personal reason. I did this for the entire interest of the Anambra. I'm telling everybody here, mark my word. And before I even took this decision, I know the spiritual journey I had to undergo just to satisfy myself that God is with me on this journey. And I'm saying this, if we wanted Soludo not to continue, the only possible platform that we can use to get it done is APC. Let's be clear about it. Let's just be clear about it.
In one interview, you said that you spoke to P2B before you made that switch to APC. Can you share what he told you?
I wouldn't really want to go into my conversation with P2B. I want to respect the relationship that I've built with him for over the years. But I just want to say that long before I made that move, I'd raised concerns upon concerns upon concerns. I never hid anything. The last meeting I held, I made it clear, sir, hope you know Labour is not going to be the platform. And I would have liked to know, where are you headed? All this coalition conversation, nobody knows what is actually going on. You guys are having that conversation for 2027, but you're forgetting that it is Anambra 2025. That is time bound. If only they could have accelerated it, for instance. If only they could have accelerated that. But guess what? The truth is that the people in that conversation really don't care about the Anambra election. And so, or maybe they do, I have no idea. But you can't possibly, because there's a window. INEC has given timetable that by April 10, primary will cease, as far as Anambra is concerned. So you have not even found, there's no, nothing. So, and for you to end your primary, there's certain things we would have done. APC, for instance, has done their Congress to elect delegates that will vote on the primary. So if you miss those timelines, you're not in the race. For those who really understand politics, in fact, let me tell you, the real politicians are commending me for the decisions I've taken. Val, you took the best decision of your life. So, and one of the things I'm also saying to you is that, there's this push factor. There's also the pull factor, because your question originally was why APC? The truth of the matter is that APC is not a problem. That name APC is not a problem. Yes, there are some people in APC, just like we also have some people in DDP, in Labour Party, there are problems. So every party, unfortunately, I would love us to emigrate to that politics of ideology where we are guided by principles. Today is not. Let's not kid ourselves. And some of the things we think we are or we were in Labour Party is not true. Again, check this out. One of the senators, for instance, now in Anambra wanted to run on that Labour Party. They wouldn't let sell ticket to him. There's nothing democratic about what happens so for those who go and use the Labour Party and come back and commend me for my decision, what I'm saying, therefore, is that even imagine that a party that I invested so much in, when there are 30 members running for House of Assembly in Anambra, I was the only person who called them together and funded them. Yeah, it may be small money, but I encouraged them so they could go there and represent us well. When they had litigation issue, I was the only person who called and said, we can help you get some senior advocate who can, up to today, I still have some pending bills in that regard. I did a lot of things, and I don't want to keep blowing my trumpet because that's not my style. But the point here is that same party was a party that was ready to throw me under the bus. But the rest of the other party, every single national chair started calling me. And for APC, I didn't go there with guarantees. People have also asked me, maybe they promised a ticket. No, they didn't promise me anything. But I know that my brand is such that if I get into any party and sell myself, they will suddenly realize I'm bringing value. I am very fortunate because I've been warmly received by APC. I had only a few days in APC. They granted me a waiver to run for this election because their constitution actually does not allow, but when they see a reason to go the extra mile, they would, and that's what they've done. So I am excited to run for this election under APC. Few things people are complaining about APC. Let me tell you, I think the best thing for us to do now is for good people not to just be very critical and condemnative in approach. Come into APC. Let's find critical mass of good people. If you think we're better than those who are there, and we'll start the change from within. So that either way, when we are changing APC, and others can go ahead and form credible opposition, either way, they will rub each other and Nigeria will get better for it, because we need a party to run for elections. And I want to conclude by saying that APC will not change who I am. I am still the same Valentine Ozigbo that all of the people were in love with. That same Valentine will remain Valentine. What you're going to get is Valentine on a bigger platform that can become more impactful. And Anambra people will be the best beneficiary for it. You're muted. You're muted.
I have someone who sent me a message for you. And this is the message. It says, how can you convince me that your principles have not changed, your values have not changed, that when you get into APC, that they are not going to inflict their viruses, that's the term they use there, on you, knowing that you can't, that this is what it says. Can you point at someone in APC who is performing in a way that you want
I can.
For Anambra State?
I want to actually be the best governor Nigeria has ever produced. So I have a high standard for myself. But there are a lot of people that actually, let's even go to our Labour Party once more. Alex Otti is a performing governor. But do you know that Alex Otti was actually running for this governorship under APC? And when he ran into this kind of issue, then came over to Labour, even before P2B came into Labour. And today he's performing. The same Alex Otti that was in APC, same Alex Otti that is now a governor in Labour Party. If he was a governor under the platform of APC, he might even be doing better. Mark my words. He might actually be doing better because he'll be connected to the center. Maybe even able to attract more favor for Abia State. So now, at a limited scale, he's doing well. I want us to be reasonable here. What will APC do to me? It's a platform, it's a party platform that will enable me ascend to the leadership level. And guess what? Do you know that because APC may be eager to change the narrative in Anambra, they may throw more favors, far more than they would have ordinarily done for Anambra people. Who becomes the beneficiary? There are conversations right now about what APC wants to do in Onitsha, the whole of Onitsha. Over 20 kilometers of road, they want to. Now, because they are eager to rebuild their brand. So if that road is built, who become beneficiary? People, when they know the owners, the people who founded APC, would you call him a bad man? There are a lot of people. A Roman father is a governor in Benue State, and it's not doing badly there. There are many people in APC, and even if you think there are none, watch and see what Valentine will become in APC as a governor. Watch and see.
All right, let's move on to the actual issue, which is
just even before we leave that point, let me actually define what value and loyalty mean, because sometimes people make this mistake. If Rudolf, you're my friend, because I thought you had certain principles and values that I respect, and then suddenly I found out that Rudolf is not exactly who I wanted him to become, who I expected. And then I leave Rudolf. Who betrayed who here? Me betrayed you, or you betrayed me? want you to think deep. Now, there's a bank that I joined at some point in my life. I thought that bank was exactly what I would have liked that bank to be. But upon joining the bank, I was happy that within a year, I broke even. So I demonstrated capacity. I was able to show what I could do for the bank. But just when I started settling down, I noticed certain values within that bank. If they build a branch with 50 million, they will escalate it to 100 million. And I saw what was going on. I just said to myself, I can't last in this bank. And then I left. Somebody who don't understand this will look at me and accuse me, Val is flirting. Why did he just leave a bank after 1 year? No, it's not me that lost my value. It's the bank that lost the value. And so me moving is to protect my own value. And the truth of the matter is that, thank God, people actually have this high expectation of me. People actually think I'm a good man. They're now saying I could be tempted. I don't think that's correct. I actually feel that it's not. The party is a name. It's individuals. And in every party, there are both good, bad, and worse. And so the best thing for us to do is to have enough preponderance of good people who can form critical mass and begin to do the right things, ensure right processes are followed. And by the way, so far, I am experiencing APC that I would like to say to everyone, listen to me, that has done far more than I expected. Maybe because I'm new, far more than I expected. When I compare this is a party I just joined, but if you have an idea what I've gone through in some of the parties, and the same thing happened in PDP, by the way. People have also asked, why did you leave PDP? I was a candidate under when Uche Secondus was national chairman of PDP. I was lucky. I went to Uche Secondus. He says to me, Val, all I needed to do is go to that field, do your best. And not one day did I take any envelope to Uche Secondus and say, I'm running for governorship. Not one day. You may accuse me of anything. And on the day of primary, he sent, National Working Committee sent Philip Shuaibu, former deputy governor of Edo State, and they conducted a free and fair primary in Anambra. That's how I emerged to become candidate. But soon after, the new leadership came into being. I started seeing a totally different PDP. A totally different PDP. There was even an attempt I made then to go for Senate. And all of a sudden, the house staff of my opponents were the ones in the appeal committee. I couldn't believe what was going on. The same PDP suddenly changed because of individuals who moved in there. And this is why we all need to be aware of some of the things happening. So Peter Obi, when he left PDP, again, was the same thing. Why is PDP suffering now in the Southeast today? It's because they left what they could have done. When we said then, unfortunately, there was a turn of the South to produce candidates for that election. And they moved and they couldn't come down to a lot of things. All that happened and affected the fortune of the party. I say this again, it is the human beings and the processes that make a party. It's not the name. So we can change the process and improve on the quality of human beings. So please, if you are a good man out there, come into APC, join hands with me, and let's start a rebuilding process. If you've identified areas of improvement, and I'm happy to work with you in that regard. Thank you.
All right. There is this video that you made. You made several videos where you were criticizing Soludo, what he was doing in Anambra State, and you touched on issues of insecurity in Anambra State. Today, Soludo had a Thanksgiving service somewhere in Oka. I don't know if you are in Anambra State at this moment. and he called it 3 years of turning dreams into reality. How do you intend, if you get this ticket of APC, to defeat Soludo in this election?
So there are two parts to this question. First is Anambra today is unfortunately far from what a typical Anambra would have dreamt of. What Soludo is doing today, and for the past 3 years plus, have now demonstrated his lack of capacity, lack of emotional intelligence, lack of character required to govern. When I saw that turning dreams into reality, I get more disappointed. I get more disappointed because I thought should be more remorseful and going to the Anambra people to apologize. I have failed you. Maybe you want to allow me time to see if I can have a receipt. But unfortunately, my own is that we don't reward failure. If you have failed, let somebody else come and improve. We don't have the time, don't have all the time. Soludo, I've done a lot of videos, like you've noted. I think I've been the most critical voice of his administration, but particularly on issues. I don't delve on personalities, on issues. And he made a promise to turn Anambra into a Dubai, Taiwan, Japan. I don't even know where those terms were coined from, because it doesn't make sense. Anambra people want to be Anambra. We just want a better Anambra. But he says Dubai, Taiwan. Not long ago, he now said, actually, we were illiterates and don't even deserve of the Dubai, Taiwan. And we're now saying, okay, Oga, I beg, keep your Dubai, Taiwan. Just give us Asaba, give us Aba, give us Umuahia, give us Enugu. Don't even promise Lagos and Abuja. That's far-fetched from you. Just give us. Why are people leaving Anambra to go to Asaba to have it? Why are people leaving Anambra to go to where? Why are people leaving Anambra to go to? How come businesses are running away? How come unemployment, and how come we have more debts under his leadership than all the other governors in recent time combined? Those who died under Peter Obi, under Obiano, maybe even under Mbadinuju, combined in one administration. Soludo's record has trumped them on that negative strand. So the question here is, in the Anambra, are you happy with where Anambra is today? Guess what? It's not just about rhetorics. I've done polls. I've seen those who have done it on social media. And if you put this question up on your own platform today, I guarantee you 80% or more will say they are not happy. So if this is his dream, then we need to cut that dream now, because that means by the time his second term comes, God forbid, then we're dead.
Yeah,
no.
but most of the people writing in are telling me, what will you do differently?
So let's go there now.
Yeah.
Again, that's usually the mistake people make. They usually go to that what instead of who. It's the who that dictates the what. We always make this mistake, because anytime people just focus on manifesto, tell us what you will do. No, stop there, please. Who are you? Because if you're somebody who don't have the strong moral character, emotional intelligence, who's arrogant, cannot take advice, then you have no capacity to tell me what anymore. So first of all, it's not right for me to say I am better. But I want to say to you, I am emotionally intelligent enough to know that there are things I don't know. To be humble enough to say, please, how do I learn this part? But We have a governor who knows it all, who thinks it's the only thing God has created, who cannot take advice from anybody, who calls for a 2-hour meeting, he will speak for 1 hour, 50 minutes, and is expecting in the last 10 minutes for gratitude for how well he has spoken. And you say that person will govern well. Are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? The truth of the matter is that he lacks capacity. So I start by saying, I am different. I will listen. Because even if there's something out there, I don't know how to do it. Rudolf, and they said to me, you are the expert in it. I will come to you and I will listen. Then I will know it. That's the difference. And this makes all the difference. What I've just said to you makes all the difference. Because I'm not expected to know it all. And guess what? I also know better because I ran a business. I've run 2 PLCs. PLCs where you are accountable to public. In Transcorp, we have 300,000 shareholders. Every quarter, I will render account. I'll go on investor call. They ask me, how did you spend this money? Why is the expense ballooning? What's going on? And so every day, I'm watching my balance sheet, my records, to be sure I don't disappoint my investors. Soludo has never done this in his entire life. It's been from lecturing to public. When he was CBN governor, there's no account. Published, show me account published. So when you work as a government official who can't execute anything, and guess what? Even when he was CBN governor, I dare say he actually failed Nigerians. It's just that the only person who realized this was Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, now the WTO. Go and read what he said about Soludo. Go and check that out. Because this is somebody who became governor. Within a few weeks, announced to the whole world, hey, every bank should consolidate, increase their share capital base to 25 billion. And if you do that, you're going to help be part of those banks, financial institutions that will manage Nigerian reserve. Banks started killing themselves to increase. And guess what? Some did the shady things of using their depositors fund, converting it through loans to increase their share capital. And that was the worst thing that happened to us. When Sanusi came, the banks started failing because Rudolf, this is what was going on. It happened a bit even in the US. All this subprime, we had a lot of subprime in Nigeria. Because if I come to you, I said to you, I'm selling my shares, 5 naira. So don't worry, you don't have to have money. I'm going to give you 1 billion naira to buy my shares, my bank shares. And then when I give you the 1 billion naira, guess what? Within a few months, that share will move to maybe 7 or 10 naira. All you need to do is sell a part and pay back the shares. The balance is your money. So if you're a greedy fellow who don't understand the rudiments of finance, you will jump at it because shares were increasing then, not knowing that shares can also come down. So by the time people use deposit money to buy shares, that's a major mismatch. So the moment share price failed to now move from 5 naira to 10 naira, instead move from 5 naira to 2 naira, you have bad loans everywhere. That's why AMCON is the biggest liability Nigeria have today. AMCON is a direct implication of Soludo's administration. And so if you say to me that such a record is what Anambra needs today, I'm saying to you, I'm sorry. That's not correct. So what I will do different are plenty. I will govern with heart and mind. I'll show passion. I'll show love. I'll show respect. I'll show that I'm humble enough to admit that we can work together as a team. And I'll show better leadership. I'll show better execution. And it's going to manifest in the sectors that are priorities to us, whether it's education, healthcare, whether it's anything about poverty eradication, agriculture, what is about infrastructure, road, whatever it's about long-term part that we need to start rebuilding from rail to port system to gases, leveraging the resources we have underneath, several sectors of emphasis. And I'll bring private sector who know me as one of theirs. I have been one of corporate CEOs. So they'll come, we'll create an enabling environment and they'll partner with us. And some direct encouragement, some PPP, public-private partnership. When we do that, jobs will be created. But before all of that can be done, we will rid Anambra of insecurity. We will show resoluteness. We can't allow local governments to be taken over for years. Israel people can't go home. Even some part of Orumba South, even some part of Agota. I'm saying to you that we are not doing well as a state. We are the worst in terms of insecurity in the Southeast. That has to change, because that's fundamental. If I don't do this, I can't bring this private sector into Anambra. And I also want to focus on those important clusters. Onitsha has to be a center of excellence in commerce. Nnewi has to be a center of excellence, and we know what we can do in that regard. Power is such an important area. I've managed power business. As CEO of Transcorp, we manage power, we manage hospitality, that means tourism, we managed agribusiness, we manage oil and gas. All of those experiences come to bear. I know buttons to be, knocked on, the doors to be knocked on. When we get all that, and then with me now in APC, I will be the bride of the government. Come and help us, because I want us to change the narrative in Anambra and in the Southeast. There are several things I will do differently. I promise you, Anambra is yet to witness that light of the nation that we are, and this is about the time.
All right. One quick question before we move to a different topic. You keep talking about Anambra. If you are APC and you win, and Anambra will be favored by the federal government, will you say that Imo State is favored by the federal government as it is today?
I wouldn't even want to go into that comparison. Anambra is Anambra, Imo is Imo. So I know that Anambra is uniquely positioned. Anambra has always been at the leadership. Let me remind you who and what Anambra is. Let me remind you. It's Anambra of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the man that transformed nations, the man that inspired Nelson Mandela that you know of. It's Anambra. It's Anambra of Soludo Ojukwu, the man that almost led all the major PLCs and formed the Nigerian Lagos Stock Exchange that became Nigerian Stock Exchange, whose vehicle had to be borrowed to welcome the Queen of England, who eventually is the father of Sir Odumegwu Ojukwu, General Ojukwu. That's the Anambra. It's Anambra of Chinua Achebe, of Chimamanda. It's Anambra of Iwenetansi. It's Anambra of my brother. Anambra, when you now think about all the other states that have moved away from Anambra, you see Southeast becoming the fastest growing under Zik and Opera. Anambra is the epicenter. Is Anambra home to the largest number of billionaires? That's the number we're talking about. So how do we regain our lost glory? There's a lot. We need to fire on all cylinders. If I want to build a port system in Anambra, which you know is important, we are traders. You know, we are the #1 trader state in Nigeria. But guess what? Why do I have to go through other areas to clear my goods to come into Anambra? It doesn't make sense. It will be a priority. And I can't do it without the federal government. We need to think here. There are a lot of things we can do better when we connect to the grid. And there's this dangerous politics that governors have played with this, myopic thinking. Let me tell you what they always do. When they are in Anambra with the one party, because ABGA is only in Anambra, we cheat ourselves. We actually create a dysfunctional system. They actually even rob their own party people negatively. Because what they do, in that party, they'll clandestinely start working with the federal. Clandestinely, A to Z, I'm not talking about, even from P2OB to Obiano to now Soludo, clandestinely. And so they'll go and make promise to them that they never keep. They'll tell them, don't worry, support me, so I can get my second term, and either I will decamp or I'll give you 25% when you're running. And then they'll sell out their own people here. And guess what? That thing has held us down as a people. If you come to APC now, they're all mourning, they're not being recognized, and all of that, because some people are clandestinely. We need to break that. Let's get into the mainstream so that when we are at the table of Nigeria discussing the future of Nigeria, Anambra is represented, not the one they go in the night to go and whisper and hide and come back. No, come on. Let's get the right job done.
Okay, one more question from me. I'll get other people involved. So a year ago, people in Anambra State, and I'm from Anambra State, they tell me that only 2 people could defeat Soludo a year ago. You and the late Ifanyoba. Now, 1 year after, what happened? Why that most of them are not feeling that way? Because it will have been just you now that has that opportunity. What do you think happened between then and today?
Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. As a matter of fact, the real politicians and the real Anambra, they still know and believe that I'm the only one who has capacity. And it's not about, I'm not being immodest or boastful. No. The truth of the matter is that, let me remind our people, this is Valentine, who had never done anything about politics until 2021 election, who was not supported by the state incumbent. Soludo was funded by Governor Obiano, who was not supported by the federal because Andiba was favored by the APC, who actually, if you also understand what happened with the denominational politics, guess what, was also at a disadvantage because we had the major denominations going opposite direction against me. And still, I came second in that election, beating APC, beating Andoba, beating Ifanyoba of blessed memory. That's the first thing I want to understand, that without any support. Let me remind you, that election in 2021, primary was in June. Then Chris Uba led a team that conducted another naming ceremony that they called primary, and said Ugochukwu Uba was now the candidate. Got a judgment in Anambra. July, August, September, until October, before we defeated them in Supreme Court. That's actually when my name was finally published, just 3 weeks to the election. I don't want to talk about the betrayals we suffered under PDP then in Anambra. And still, I came second. That shocked the world. Just weeks after, there were online poll, who should be Anambra Man of the Year? I was conferred with that honor. Then I showed purpose in 2023. I wasn't running for election. I could have just minded my business. But without any prompting, without any promise, I followed P2B and did everything I could. When Soludo was criticizing and throwing stones,
all right.
I was supporting them actively. So why wouldn't my profile get to that point? Let me.
All right. His internet is
You can still hear me, right?
Okay, we can hear you now. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Rudolf, you're right. Okay. So the point I'm making is that I suffered all these headwinds. So there's a gentleman who on his Twitter handle, Royal Delight, go and search for it, and say Anambra 2025, that's some months ago. Who would you give your vote and repost? Governor Soludo and 75 poll, 93%. 93%. So that even if you say, okay, well, online polls usually add 20% margin of error, take away 20% from that, that's still 73. So we've got an incredible momentum. And the fear people used to announce was, well, even if you win on ground, because the Nigeria we know of today, how will your mandate be protected? I went to 32 cities in the world, 14 in North America, 18 in Europe. And the same question they kept asking me. We know you will win. Our fear is that he may not be declared. I think I've solved that problem now. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. I got you adrift. I know where you went to. Let's get to people joining us. To just a question, please. He has to leave. That's why I stopped my own interview. I have several questions we wanted to get to. Ositadima, you first.
Good evening, everyone. And Mr. Val, because we have a very short time, I'll go straight to the point. I used to be one of your supporters, and I was absolutely hoping that when you come here, you have enough reasons to actually convince me that you made the right decision. And so far, the only thing you said here, and I'm just going to give it to you as a piece of advice, so you repeat it more often, just because I like your person, is the fact that you should remind people that you supported P2B when Soludo was criticizing him. To be honest with you, that is the only campaign reasonable thing you can say to anybody in Anambra State, and it might make them think twice. For me personally, you made a very wrong decision. Even if you went to the, I agree with you for leaving Labour Party, but there are certain lines you should not cross, because if we are that new Nigeria that we are all hoping for, you joining the APC, it doesn't bring us closer to it. To me personally, and to a lot of people, it only seems that you've become more desperate. And for someone who followed Obi for years, if there's one thing you can learn about Obi, and I might be wrong, but this is what at least he has convinced a lot of us that is his nature, is the fact that it's better for him to lose doing the wrong thing. And it's better that he's not desperate to be a president of the country. It appears to me that your personal ambition has made you desperate, that you have chosen to dine with the devil. So I'll allow other people to speak. But it's a shame. I cry because I know that you could have led Anambra well, but you lost it, my brother. It's a shame.
All right. Thank you, Stadim. Val, any response?
Yes. My brother Stadim, what if you're wrong? Hear me. You're making some assumptions. There are a lot I won't say in this platform, but what if you're wrong? And what if I prove you wrong in the end? What if this decision turns out to be a good decision in the end? What if? You see, I apologize to a lot of people who feel disappointed, you inclusive. There's also one comment that P2B makes all the time. While he may not be personally desperate, he was desperate to see that Nigeria becomes better. My brother, if there's any desperation in me, it's desperation to see Anambra get better. It's not about Valentine's personal interest. You may not agree with me today. I promise you, Ositadema, in near future, you will call me to commend me for this decision. I promise you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ositadema. Let's move on to Femi Yones.
Good morning, Mr. Valentine. So, taking it from where Ositadema stopped, you're someone I respect. However, there's something you've managed to confuse me more than convince me. There's a couple of states in the east that are governed by APC, I believe. There's something you mentioned that I am trying to understand. When Rudolf asked you specifically about how to name APC governors are performing, part of what was in my head was also the fact that I've not seen what APC has done to the point where you'll be eulogizing APC. That's not to say other parties don't have their own issues, but the why APC question is there. The fact that you couldn't readily come up with answers beyond trying to maneuver your way. I like the way you're pretty smart, honestly. the way you try to maneuver your way when you were talking about Alex Oti and all that, that's not to say that there's any particular governor that really comes to mind beyond maybe Sanwo-Olu to an extent, maybe the Niger State governor or whatever. But what happens? Which is the next party you're going to go to if APC treats you the way parties regularly treat people in Nigeria, especially with the fact that there's no ideology? And what exactly is your ideology?
My dear brother, I am governed by selfless principles. More of common good and less of myself. That's what drives me in politics. I am somebody who is driven by what we call continuous improvement. That when you see a situation, no matter how good, there are rooms for improvement. And when it's actually even terrible, there's urgency to improve. This is what drives me. I'm somebody who is in a quest for excellence. That everything I've ever done in life, I always want to be the best in it. I may not be the best, but you see me making effort. And that's why my primary school, secondary school, university, I would come tops, and I find myself in working environment. I became best staff of Diamond Bank, best staff from different places I've been, and even in politics, I've built the best brand in Anambra politics. And guess what? Val Ozigbo is destined, by grace of God, to be the best governor this country would have produced. If God permits, I win this election in 2025. And here's what I decided. When I was taking this decision, I knew from day one, there are people who are going to fall into three categories. There are some that will understand it for what it is and applaud me. There are some that will be, there's nothing I can say in this world to change their mind as of now. And there are some that are going to be in the middle who will not be too judgmental, who will hear the reasons, think objectively, and maybe decide not to support or to support. Mine is to, over time, shift people from where they are to that supportive zone. And already, there has not been a single human being that has spoken to me one-on-one and I've given reason that has not been sympathetic with my reason. That's not a single human being. Femi, you inclusive. When we are together and I engage you further, if you watch, I'm actually being careful. There are certain questions I have to be careful even in the way I respond. I'm running for an election. If unless you're here to actually dig a hole for me to fall into and close it, then you expect me to say everything I want to say. No. Let's watch this space. Let's keep engaging. Like I said to Sister Dima, I'm also going to say it to you. I am not a desperate politician. If I was, I would never have followed Peter Obi in 2023 because I was going to make more money in PDP. And I left that PDP to join where I would spend money. I am a purposeful politician by grace of God. And I'm not comparing myself with Peter Obi, but I'm Valentine. Thank God that I have built my brand to where it is today. I never went into politics for fame or for money. I am in a hurry to see that Anambra changes, and I don't like where it is today. This is what drives me. And as a part, I want to speak less about. I mentioned it before, but I want to say less about it because things about spirituality, these are not the things you come out there to just talk anyhow. What if I prayed to God and I saw signs that should take this move? What if? What if? My dear brother, I'm taking it all for good. Because I never expect that everybody will understand it from day one. But for those who have understood it, I thank you. And for those who are still very critical of it, I understand. And sometimes my prayer is, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they're doing.
All right. Thank you, Femi. Let's go to Comrade Omori.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Damages, for another wonderful day. Welcome our guest, Mr. Valentine Ozigbo. My question goes like this. I want to thank you for the support you gave to me in the last dispensation. I must not, forget that support. That was very, very strong. But in this dispensation, I want to believe that late Senator Ifeanyi Ubah was a very strong contender in the forthcoming Anambra gubernatorial election. But today is no more. Will I be right if I say you're trying to take advantage of that situation to create that vacuum or lacuna created by the demise of Senator Ifeanyi Ubah, and also to take advantage of the ringing machine of the APC, considering what they did in Edo and other states? Would that be your motivating factor? Thank you.
My dear comrade, what an interesting question. I will say to you, please, let's allow the soul of Senator Ifeanyi Ubah to rest peacefully. I am one of those who felt deeply pained by his demise. Personally, Ifeanyi was my friend, and he has gone. If you knew me, when his friends and party loyalists came to me, they said something to me. Val, in fact, I was in the same venue where I am now. They met me and said, Val, there were 3 of you running for this election. Our principal, you, and Governor Soludo. Our principal believed in one thing, and that thing was that Soludo should not come back. And today, we're left with only one option to stop Soludo, and that is to support you. And I said to them, I'm sorry, this is too early to get into this conversation. I prefer we allow the funeral and all that to take place. We can have this conversation later. And the idea then was that I was going to run under Labour Party, and they in APC will come over to support me. There was never any imagination of running under APC, but politics is dynamic. You look at the circumstance. I didn't know that also the issues around Labour can't easily be resolved up to this very moment. And so here is how to take this decision. Anambra people really, really want me as an alternative. And if you want to test this, go and check on ground. Forget about all these innuendos we're concocting. Just simple logic that we don't like Soludo, we want you. If you establish this fact, and then it's no longer going to be Labour Party as a platform. So which platform will it deploy, will it use? I've asked this question, answer me, Comrade Omori. If you know it wasn't going to be Labour Party, answer me, which other party? You want me to go to SDP or NRM or, okay, I shouldn't run at all, and then deny Anambra people the chance of having a better leader? Come on, come on. Let's follow simple logic. And so anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I answer the question you throw at me?
No. Oh, you wanted to answer the question? No.
Yes. In the last local government election, when Peter Obi and the governor of Anambra State were having issues with Labour, leadership of Labour, they took advantage of I think the YPP party where they to consolidate their grassroots support. They supported a candidate from a local party, YPP or so, I can't remember precisely. Now that the leadership is still on, what would have expected you? Why Peter Obi is still struggling? I know it's almost getting too late. I know you cannot wait forever because your election is closer. What would have expected you to take advantage of that grassroots, that base? Why waiting for Peter?
Let me help you. Let me help you. This tells me that there's a bit more you need to learn about Anambra politics. Because if you understood it, you wouldn't even be suggesting what you're suggesting today, with due respect. Here is the issue here. If actually I don't run under APC, here is Governor Soludo's plan. He wants to consolidate his local incumbency with the federal might. And he wants to take a mushroom party to unseat these two behemoths My dear brother, give me a break. Just understand that Val Ozigbo is not a stupid man. I don't take frivolous decisions. There's a lot more you need to understand. Again, I may end up saying this to you. Over time, you will come back to applaud me. I actually like what is going on. I like the fact that people are being this critical. First, it shows that they have interest in what I'm doing. They had high expectations of me. They loved me. And they wanted the best for me. And I'm deeply grateful to all of you. But there's a decision you haven't understood. It's like things of mystery. What I want you to be circumspect. Make some excuse for me. That there must be a reason this Val had. Have you even asked, why did I leave a Labour Party that I spent so much to build? Have you bothered to ask? That something must have chased this man out of this party. Or, you know what? There are a lot of people I want to refer you to who understood issues. If I mention some names here, I'll put them in trouble. That's what I want. But figure out people, including in the obedient leadership, go and find out what Val went through. You will call me to say, I'm sorry. There's a lady who was so critical of me. There's something she didn't write. I called her. I said, I'm still that same Valentine. Now, let me tell you exactly what happened. By the time I was done, she was crying. I'm sorry, I judged you wrongly. Comrade Omori, I challenge you. You are judging me wrongly.
All right. Thank you, Omori. Val, we actually like people crying on TV. So if you can make one of our people cry here, that would be a high. Viewers will be very interested. All right. Okija, you're next.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Ozigbo, for coming on. I've been one of your supporters. Even I follow you around, like on social media. Even when you had an interview with Kune, I think Kune on the Twitter page, space. Actually, I took time to cut the video, to cut the audio, and made them into video, and shared it. So if you saw one of them, probably I did that. I don't know that Soludo was struggling, in Anambra when, to be honest with you, Soludo don't deserve to get a second term, to be honest with you. Even if he's performing stellar right now, he's not supposed to get a second term. He doesn't deserve it, because a lot of Anambra people died under Soludo. And that was one of my issues, with him. So, and I was all over social media, like WhatsApp pages and criticizing Soludo. But since he changed his steps, and Anambra is becoming a little bit secure right now. And even that, when I was doing this, people coming against me, saying things that Soludo is the man, Soludo is the man. And now he has been doing something, security-wise. It's been amplified that he's doing well, that deserves second term. From since you made that decision, it's been very difficult. I understand what you're saying, but. Anambra people, Anambra, we are optics. In general, optics matters. I understand what you're saying, talking about the APC is the vehicle, but this is going to be difficult for the Anambra. From what I've seen, I'm in a lot of WhatsApp, space, and I hear what is going on. It's very difficult decision. I mean, you made it, it's your decision, but it's a very difficult decision. And what made it worse is that you went to a lodger. I mean, that's the one. The one, that. So I don't know. To be honest with you, it's going to be very difficult to convince Anambra people right now. I mean, you have. It's tough. It's tougher for you right now. To be honest with you, for someone who supports you, I'm gonna tell you that it's tough for you. It's gonna be tough for you to win against Soludo right now. Soludo is the candidate in Anambra from what I've seen. So I don't know what you have to do, but you don't have a lot of time to do it. That's except if APC is going to do some of those the miracle they do in Edo and they do in other places. I don't see with that the decision. if you are, if you are going to like maybe ZLP or whatever another party, I don't know, it will be comfortable, for Anambra people to understand, but this is very difficult for Anambra people. That's what I want to tell you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. I hear you, my dear brother. The more I see the difficulty that people are having with this decision, the more I feel that we are going to truly make a history. The man that finally made Anambra people to love APC. The man that finally, helped even within to change the perception and values in APC. Okija, you look to me like somebody na madu. When you go and consult the God, and he tells you that Val Ozigbo has taken the right decision, I am a very deeply spiritual person. I fear God and I respect man. This decision didn't come easy. I know the difficulty I faced within myself to take this decision. But the moment I felt that there's something God wants to achieve, first and foremost, by the time I win this election by the grace of God, it will become clear it's not a human being that's done it. That's where the testimony. So those who don't believe there is God will be calling me to say, where is your God? And when we win and we start to do well, and when you now start to see what's going on in places like Abia or Enugu as a little part of what Anambra is becoming. And you, Okija, can now go home, because you can't go home now. Whatever you say about Soludo insecurity, go and visit Okija, Chigata. Until you begin to do that, that's when you call my number and say, Valentine Ozigbo, well done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Okija. Let's go to Dr. Dominic.
Well, Rudolf,
by the way, Rudolf, how come you assembled all the people who are critical? So none of your friends.
I like that. these are. Wait. There are some good people coming. There are people. They are coming.
I have only 5 minutes before I run out.
Oh, 5 minutes.
Go ahead, Dr. Dominic.
All right. So,
wait, Rudolf, did you skip people?
I don't know. I don't remember the sequence. I know that I can see.
You put me in trouble.
Oh, okay, go ahead, Dr. Dominic, quickly.
Okay.
He has 5 minutes.
Well, good to see you, my chairman. I haven't been in Nigeria for close to maybe 15, 20 years. But I follow the news very, very, very closely. And I grew up in Onitsha. I'm an Anambrian, so things like this to me. Your name has been very ubiquitous, even for but I would say, the whole APC has been kind of rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. If you're in a lot of private chats, even just this live stream, you see the comments people are making. I have 2 questions for you. And
no, maybe one. He has 5 minutes, and we have 3 people waiting too.
Oh, yes.
Just find the best one, please.
Find the best one. Okay, I'll do it. How about 1 with 2? Okay. Okay, maybe the second one, just something you have in mind, and then maybe at some point, as you reflect on your political campaign, that's something that you may want to make very clear to people. The most critical question for me is, what I want to understand is, I didn't know you were the former CEO of Transcorp. What I want to understand is, prior to politics, what were you doing? How did you get the opportunity or the privilege to become the CEO of Transcorp? I think that's very critical in terms of thinking about like godfatherism and favoritism versus people getting there on merits. I want to make sure that as people are listening to you, they understand that you got to where you are by your own 2 feet and not by some kind of parachute. And then the second question,
thank you, Dominic. Thank you.
He doesn't have answered some question here. I think it's important to be able to reflect to people, whether dead or alive, people that inspire you in terms of your political philosophy. Whether people from prior philosophers and then the current people who inspire you in terms of the kind of government position you want to be. So the first one, I want you to answer. The second one, you can expand on it.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I am a child of grace who, through dint of hard work and grace of God, got myself to where I never imagined I could get myself. I spoke briefly about my academic career. I won the best student in financial management. The prize of that was to be a youth corper in Now Merchant Bank, the oldest merchant bank in Nigeria. While in Now Merchant Bank, I got many jobs from PwC to Diamond Bank. I chose Diamond Bank. I was moved from Lagos to Warri. Within 6 months in Diamond Bank, I was voted the best staff of Diamond Bank in Nigeria, just within 6 months. On my 5th year, I become a branch manager of a bank. My 7th year, I become a regional manager. Then before I left banking, I rose to the level of general manager. I was actually now opening banks in different countries. I was involved in major acquisitions, mergers from US to UK, to China, to Dubai, to many African countries. I led the expansion of UBA in many countries in Africa. Before I left UBA to become head of global transaction banking in Bank PHP, I taught over 2,000 bankers. I was headhunted to Transcorp Hilton to become the CEO. And this is how it happened. On my way for holiday to China, I was invited to a meeting. I said to them, I'm sorry, I'm traveling now. But then Tony Lumelu knew who I was in my UBA days. I had left him. I was already in Bank PHP, so I wasn't working with him. But he insisted. I told my wife to continue on that trip. I came back to see him, and behold, it was board meeting of Transcorp. And he says to me, Val, sorry we didn't tell you what we're calling you, but it's an interview because we're looking for a position for Executive Director of Finance for Transcorp. Tony was then leaving banking to go into a conglomerate. And by the time I left that interview, I left with an offer letter. The next day, I flew to China. By the time I came back, he called me back again. This is life story. But we wanted it to be an ED finance, but there's another role, the CEO of the hotel, which is the cash cow. I'm making this call from that hotel now. And so we needed somebody we trust. And so would you mind going to? I'm actually rejected. I said, I'm sorry. I'm a finance person. I want to play to my strength. And that means I'm going to have to leave my family in Lagos and move to Abuja? No. He said, no, you don't know what to tell. Go and think about this. That's when I knew I didn't have an option. So I was forced into taking CEO of Transcorp Hilton Abuja. Guess what? Within the 7 years I was CEO of Transcorp Hilton, I renovated this hotel, embarked in a $100 million project. Today is the best business hotel in Africa under my watch. And twice I was voted CEO of the Year in the world, in Spain and in Greece. And then I was promoted to become president of Transcorp Group. So everything I've ever done in life, hard work and grace of God. I hope that answers that question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. One more question, please, before
I'm not promoting Val. I don't know much about him. I'm trying to learn. So
no, doctor, we don't allow. You're done. Your time is up. CM, you're next. Who brought back doctor?
Okay,
CM, final question, please. He has.
Thank you, Rudolf. Thank you, Rudolf. Good evening, Val, for coming. I know you want to be governor of Anambra State, but I want to put it straight. Sometime last year, you were on channels on Arise News with Charles and Yagolo. What you told Charles was all the road started by Soludo has been washed off by the first rain of the year. Can you tell us one of the roads, just one, that Soludo tired and has been washed off by the rain? Because if you want to be a governor, remember you are dealing with the Anambra. They are not illiterates. They are widely traveled and they are capable of investigating anything. And you come with a very clean credential. So you are on record to have said that all the roads started by Soludo has been washed off by the first rain of the year. So name the roads if you can. Thank you.
I can see this is my dear brother. I see you're in love with Soludo. I will leave you to your choice. Everything I've ever said has been carefully investigated and proven to be true. Saying all the roads is exaggeration. Were there some roads that were mismanaged up to today? Yes.
But that's what.
Hold on, sir. Are there opaqueness in the way Anambra is being run? You asked a question. Let me answer, please. Are there opaqueness in the way Anambra is being run? And are we using some of them, Soludo and Sons? Yeah, that's correct. Do we know how monies are being stolen in Anambra? Yes, I can prove that to you. My dear brother, if you're proud of Anambra of today, I'm sorry. I'm disappointed and I want a better Anambra. And Soludo is not giving us that better Anambra. If somebody like this can be like this in his first term, when he needs votes, and then all this didn't happen, and you had to wait until the last to even do anything about insecurity, that means you know the implication. Rudolf, thank you so much for having me. And I want to say it's been an incredible audience. I'm learning myself. One thing I can guarantee you about all of this conversation is that there are people who, just by what happened today, will begin to interrogate. There are people who will begin to wonder. And what I'm leading people on to dig a bit further. Don't quote me. Go and find out. Do a bit of investigation. And when you've done that, I promise you, most of the people I've spoken here today will say to you, Val, again, we judged you wrongly. And I'm not saying this to also say that I do the right thing all the time. I'm a human being. I'm fallible. I can make mistakes. And by the way, if this be a mistake, let it be. But guess what? This decision, the way I know a good decision is when I can have peace of mind. If you know what I went through, in Labour Party, and the peace of mind that APC gave to, even if temporarily, is enough justification for me. Ask yourself, why would I go through what I'm talking like this? If I'm speaking like this, go and dig further. Just go and dig further. You can come back and have another conversation another day.
All right. Thank you, Val. Please promise us that after the primaries, you come back. We need more time. We have a lot of people who are waiting. They couldn't.
No, even before the primary, we would like you to come back. Sorry.
I'll be 4 hours next.
Please.
All right.
Come back.
All right. Thank you so much. We will do that again. Thank you, everybody.
God bless you.
All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we do our break.